My name is Mike Standing. I'm with Tualatin Valley Beekeepers Association, and today we're going to install a nucleus hive into my hive in the apiary. Okay, you can see the Nuc Hive comes in a cardboard box. It does have ventilation holes and this yellow plug right here. If you can't put your nucleus hive into your regular hive right away, you'll have to pull that yellow plug off so the bees can get out and do what they got to do. But if you can put it in the morning, that's the best thing to do. Before you put your nuc into your hive, you want to have already put your hive together and have it ready to go, like I have. I'm going to start them off in one brood box. I have a feeder here, and then I have a ventilation cover here. So let's go ahead and start taking it apart. Here's the outer cover. This is insulation I use to keep the moisture down. This is our ventilation cover. 2 slotted screens on top of burlap. And this is the inner screen over the inner cover. This is my feeder. It's a hive top feeder. We'll put sugar syrup in that after we're done. Okay, you can see I have my hive all ready to go here, minus 5 frames. I've already taken the frames out, and so all I have to do is open up the nucleus hive and put them in. Now, because the bees have been in this nucleus hive for some time, maybe a couple days, they're going to want to get out right away. So I recommend that you wear your veil, your jacket, and gloves if you got them. Well, because it's about 8:30 in the morning and it's probably about 50 degrees, it's still a little chilly, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time inspecting each frame because I want to get them out and get them in the hive just as quickly as I can. So because of that, I got my gloves on because I know that they're going to want to be getting out really quickly. So the gloves will help protect me from stings. Okay, I've got 5 frames missing. I'm going to take out 2 frames to help me put them in so that I'll have room to slide them back and forth. Okay, I also have some sugar syrup handy here to keep calming them down. Okay, I'm going to open up the box on the nucleus hive. It's just a cardboard box. Look at that, lots of bees. So I'm going to spritz them with a little bit of sugar syrup. See, they're already out. They're not even liking me squirting them. So this will help calm them down a little bit. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to put the hive right on top of my hive right here, so there'll be less chances of me dropping any bees. Hive tool, this is the fireman's hook, and this is the standard hive tool. So the nucleus hive should have at least 3 frames full of brood in it and 2 frames full of honey. Depends on who makes them up. Yeah, I'm glad to put the gloves on. They are really excited. A lot of bees in here. There's brood on this frame right here. Okay, that's going to go right in the hive. So now that I have one frame out, it'll be easier to take the other ones out because they're not as close together anymore. So as you take them out, you want to put them in the hive in the same order you took them out, right next to each other. Now that I got them spaced out a little bit here, it's easier to take them out like this, see? That's a lot of bees. Lots of brood on there, capped brood. Now you can see here, here's a frame here. Lots of bees on there. There's so many bees here. I'm finding the queen would take a chore, but I'm going pretty quickly because it's a little chilly and I want to get them in the hive. This is the last frame right here. This frame actually has some younger brood on it, and it has some honey in this corner right here. See this white area? That's capped off honey. What I'm going to do, and I'm going to set the nest of the nuc down here, and you can see the frames going in right here. Again, I have 10 frame hives, so I took out 5 frames to make room, and then I took out 2 other frames just so I can get them in nice and easy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push them over, snug them up, and then I can put in my other frames. This is a frame that has some honey on it. I'll put that on the end. And then I have an ugly looking frame with a little bit of mold on it, and they'll clean this right up. So I'm going to put that right next to them. Okay, the nuc is in there. Nice and easy, right? After you have your 5 frames of bees installed into your hive, you're going to want to feed them. Before I feed them, I have this is called a shim or a spacer, and I'm going to put this on right over the box so that I can put a pollen patty in. Pollen patty is a supplemental protein pack for the bees, which they will need in order to rear brood. So I put that on because when I put the pollen patty on, it won't get squished too much and gives the bees some extra room in there. So this is a typical pollen patty you can get at your local bee supply store. It has protein in it. It comes covered with wax paper on both sides. Go ahead and peel it off. You don't have to get it all off. You just want to get it started, and they'll do the rest. This is supplemental feeding. It's not required, but it certainly helps them get going. It's like a boost. Okay, I keep the pollen patty right on the back, just right over the top of the frame. See? I'm not going to smush it down because I'll smush bees, but they'll move right out of the way. Okay? And in addition to pollen patties, we're going to feed 1-to-1 sugar syrup. This is my sugar feeder. This is a hive top feeder. Holds about 3 gallons total. This is not the only method that you could use to feed them. They have inserts that will go inside the hive you can fill with honey. You can also feed them out front on what's called a Boardman feeder. Okay, so I'm just going to set this right down on top of the shim. Send everything up. And then I'll fill these 2 compartments here with sugar syrup. Okay, I've made up my sugar syrup. And I make up a lot because I have these other hives here that need feeding periodically. So I make it up in about 4-gallon batches, and I keep it in my white bucket. So it's 1-to-1 syrup. So we're going to go and fill them. There's a lot of stuff that you can add to your syrup.
Jesus.
I just use Honey Be Healthy, which is a feeding stimulant to my syrup. And that's all I put in, especially for springtime feeding. There we go. Syrup is on. So after we've got the sugar syrup on, it's time to put the covers back on the hive. This is a inner cover with a notch in it here. I usually put the notch down so that the bees can enter inside here and get into the syrup. But since I'm feeding syrup, I don't want them to get robbed, so I'm going to leave the tape over the little hole here, the square hole. That way that the neighbor bees over here can't rob them out. That way it closes off the feeder and closes off the upper part of the hive. So my cover is just an inner cover, and I have made the ventilation covers for it like this, so it's really easy. You just put the cover right on top of the inner cover. And you'll see that there's a hole inside of here, right? A round hole. That can be used for feeding as well. I put this screen box on top of the hole right here like this. That's to keep the bees from coming up into this cavity up here and building out comb. And you can also feed in here if you want to. If you're going to feed for winter feeding, you flip it over and you can put sugar right on through here and it'll go onto the cover below it. Since it's no longer winter and we're not going to feed dry sugar, I'm going to flip it over like this, and this will help keep moisture out of the hive. And also help wick moisture out of the hive, we're going to use a piece of burlap that's going to go right on top of this screen box right here. This is going to act kind of like a wick to keep the moisture out. And I'll put our ventilated cover on again. Okay. This is my hive insulation. I use this on top of everything and below my outer cover. Because it forms an insulation barrier on the outer cover, it'll help moisture from being condensing on the inside of the cover. So I put this on. Make sure everything's all nice and leveled here. No cracks. Okay. You get good ventilation. And that's it. What do you do with
bees?
Huh?
Happy bees.
Happy bees, yep. So the Nuc box here still has some bees roaming around in it right here. So I'm just going to put this Nuc box right up next to the hive like that. And they'll smell everybody in there, and they'll eventually exit the box and they'll crawl right inside to the hive box right there. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're able to put your first Nuc in with no problems. And remember, if you have any problems putting in your Nuc, get a hold of the Tualatin Valley Beekeepers Association and see if somebody can come out and help you do it. Okay, thank you very much for watching.